Hello and welcome to another Couch Combat Devlog. This is Devlog 10, which means that this series is now just as long as my previous Devlog series. Well, technically it's longer because there's more time in between episodes, but whatever. This episode I am going to be completely redoing all the animations with all my guns in the game. These new animations will be more detailed, have better arms, and hopefully just look less janky overall. I'm also going to bug fix and polish up the game some more. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the game. And if you want to try out the game, there is a free demo available on itch.io. Finally, I have a Discord, and if you want to discuss the game, suggest any features, or need to report some bugs with the game, be sure to join. There's a link in the description below. The number one priority for me at this time was creating a patch for itch.io to fix many of the bugs and issues with the game. The first few I fixed were fairly simple. Like, I removed the unfinished throwables from the first player. I made the HP bar flash red again, because that got screwed up. I moved the UI a bit closer to the edges to make it a bit easier to see stuff, but a few fixes took a bit longer. Like muting audio whenever the last player is killed, so sounds don't desync with the slow motion. I also implemented icons for the guns, which I somehow forgot to do. I made these icons a while ago, I just forgot to put them in, so I made a script to switch them out based on which gun you were using. The big issue with the game at this point was the fact that the guns would sometimes shoot right through the other players. So I decided to do a few things. The first one was to make all the guns hit scan. There isn't really a reason for them not to be. After all, the game isn't over long distances, so a bullet drop really isn't a factor. I left in the code for projectile weapons, because I'll probably eventually use that for something like a grenade launcher or a gun that shoots slower projectiles that I can't use hit scan for. The other change I made was simply moving the place where the bullet is shot out of back a bit. This is because the actual model of the gun in-game is quite a bit bigger than it looks from your first-person perspective. It has to be this way to look good, but I used to create all the bullets out of the end of the gun, which would mean that sometimes it would go through the players because you were so close to them that the model was actually going through them. So I made it hit scan, that way I can move it further back without it looking weird, and also this removes issues with the bullets sometimes just going through things without being noticed. The only issue of using hit scan was that I had to completely rework spread. It works, but I realized after releasing this patch on itch.io that it accidentally reduced spread, which made the Uzi absolutely overpowered. I then began work on reanimating all the guns in the game. I was working on a smaller project at the same time as doing this, which you'll see a video over pretty soon. I started out making a model for the arm. It took a few tries, but I got this gloved one that I like. The gloves make the hands easier to see when compared to the arms, and they just look kinda nice. I rigged this all up and then got to work making new animations. The first gun I redid was the Uzi. I actually created a new model for it first of all. The old one was a bit bland and had an issue where it was missing a polygon in the game because of intercepting polygons. The new one has a few more colors and a bit more interesting shape, and it no longer has intercepting polygons. I then rigged up the Uzi and began to animate it. These are the finished animations. I really like the reload one. I think the mag flying out is really satisfying, though it'll probably take a lot of extra work to get the mag working in-game. The pistol was pretty simple. I changed up the model a bit more to make it look a tiny bit less boxy, and then I animated it. The animations are pretty nice, though the pickup animation needs some work. The AK-47 was next. I decided to go in a completely different direction for the animations. The reload is pretty satisfying, but the pickup is pretty bad. I think that I'll move the sliding bar thing over to the other side of this devlog. Though this is inaccurate to the actual AK-47, this will make it less awkward to animate cocking the gun, and will make shooting animations more lively. The shotgun was the last and the easiest. Making the reload was really easy because it repeats, so it's really simple. I got rid of the spinning pickup that I used to have because it looks pretty bad, and the new pickup is just a super simple pump. Now I actually enjoy animating the guns, and it really doesn't take that long overall to animate them. But importing them is where it really falls apart and is the main reason why I don't have like 1,000 guns in the game. It takes forever and there are always 500,000 problems that appear out of nowhere. But whatever, over a few days I imported the models. The process consists of importing the model, then setting up all the animations in the import settings, putting them into the animation controller, adding the model to a gun template, and then endlessly polishing and bug fixing the gun until it feels okay to use. This process also generally requires me to go back into Blender and change up some things that look bad in Unity. Unity's frame interpolation sometimes causes issues as well. The differences in the view in Blender and in Unity can lead to things like the mag just not going completely off screen. I also sometimes have to change the colors in Unity because the materials are either just jet black for some reason or look a lot darker in Unity than in Blender thanks to the lighting. And also, sometimes just animations do not work whenever importing into the animation controller, so I have to try to find workarounds or just go back and switch up the thing in Blender. Finally, things like the magazine that flips out of the Uzi usually require a separate object just to handle their animation, like this weird spinning issue that I did not get around to fixing on the Uzi. Now this sounds very annoying and boring. That's because it is. But it's a process that I have to do each time. I mean, it was a lot worse the first time I imported the models for the guns because I had to develop a process along with doing all this stuff because I had no idea what I was doing. So it could be worse. One thing I decided to do differently with these new guns was removing the idle animations from Blender. I used to make these in Blender and they were often really janky and bad whenever imported into the actual game. So I decided to do it using code in Unity. I picked up some scripts online and added them to the gun sway script. I had to adjust it a ton, but I eventually got the guns to sway up and down whenever moving. And it increases speed with how fast you're moving, so that looks kinda nice. I'm gonna add more code-based animations like this in the future. Stuff like weapon bobbing whenever you're jumping, a bit of camera bounce on landing to make it look a bit more impactful and smooth, and rotating the guns to the side whenever sliding, kind of like it does in Titanfall. But that's all for this devlog. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and like if you want to see more devlogs. You can try out the game for free on itch.io. It's not got the new animations in yet, but I plan on doing another patch for it sometime soon. Don't forget to join the Discord as well. It's a great place to suggest features or bug fixes or whatever. Bye.